Good morning. Good morning. Hey, I was just checking out my handy dandy work. I just recently picked up this tank, and I had to add my connections to it, so I just did that yesterday. But it's a big boy, 3,500 gallons. Nice to have some water again. William, welcome back. Thank you. It's nice to be back. I had a bad connection over there, so I came to higher ground. Good morning from North Carolina. Good morning back to you. Love the view. Yes, I know. It's a beautiful view. Awaiting the response on the email for the canopy. Okay, Kenny Beans. Morning, Harry. I just sent you an email a few days ago. I'll check my emails. I haven't been around lately. I had this long trip to Texas to pick up that tank. And anyway, I've been tired and haven't been checking, but I'll make sure I check all my emails today. That building you were showing earlier was excellent. The building, are you referring to the tire wall structure I'm going to be creating? Or are you talking about that dome? Howdy back there. What's up, Harry? You the man. Thank you. Howdy from Texas. Looking forward to the workshop dates. All right. When is the next workshop? March is going to be the next workshop. And I'm thinking I'm going to incorporate everything into the workshop, from Aircrete to Epic to the new system. I'm just going to show everybody what I would do, and that's pretty much it. After all my experiments with Aircrete and this experiment here in front of us with the Epic, and the new system, I think I have something. I have a concept that I need to create that is going to incorporate all those different materials, and it's going to be sweet. And I can't wait. It's just going to be rocking, and I'll be showing that whole system. I'll be showing the complete system, everything I know about all the different building materials I'm going to incorporate into the workshop, and then you can pick out pieces from there and do what you want from that. If you want to build with just Aircrete or just Epic or just the new system, whatever you want is going to be available to you. So yeah, the next workshops are going to be rocking. I learned a lot from the first workshop in September, and yeah, the new students will benefit a great deal from the knowledge I gained from that workshop. Utilizing tires and Aircrete is a great idea. Thank you. Yeah, I agree. As soon as that nailer comes, I'm waiting for the pneumatic nail gun. As soon as I get that with the ring shank nails that I ordered, I'll be assembling a structure. Even if I don't fill it with anything, I just want to have it up and see how that is. And also, one of my ideas for tires was to use them for scaffolding. And that's the other thing I want to experiment with. I think it's going to work pretty good. The idea is basically to have two tires side by side next to each other and nail them together with the ring shank nails, and then put a board on it, plywood. And, I don't see why that's not going to work great. And I could build a really inexpensive scaffolding with the tires and board. Even if I have to put four tires together to make it more stable. I think that's gonna work nice, and that was one of my issues that I was dealing with in the construction of this dome, was not having a scaffolding. I could have went out and rented one, but finances were low. So if your finances are low, you can't go out renting scaffolding or man lift machines or whatever. I'm thinking this tires will work great as a scaffolding, but I haven't done it yet, so I need to experiment. I've stood on top of tires with boards before, but what I'm envisioning, like to be able to build this dome with a scaffolding system that feels safe enough, even though the one I built was sketchy, but to feel build one that's safe, I think that's going to work really nice for that as well. And anyway, that's what's going on. What we got here, Abby? Greetings from North Carolina. Hello back to North Carolina. Ralph, I'm going to be using tires for my driveway and flat spots on my lot. Yeah, the tires are proven technology to work. Mechanical concrete. Just look that up, and you'll see there's some videos out there, and it shows how you can make your driveways like super strong, and that's definitely a great idea. Storage building with shipping containers. Yeah, the storage building. I mean, what I built there, if I were looking to build a house with those canvas covers, I think that would be a really slick way to do it. You can barely see it through the trees there, but two shipping containers with a canvas, a dense aircrete mix. You'd have a solid roof done, and then you'd cover your shipping container with aircrete or Epic also to insulate it, and yeah, you could build a really quick house like that. And yeah, I would love to do that. For me, there's storage units. They're my storage buildings and my space for when I have the workshops. That's where we all hide out from the sun. And that space worked really nice. And actually, that was what I originally intended that space for, was for when I host workshops here. Um, we'd have a place to be out of the rain and sun and stuff like that, and it works really nice. But yeah, building a house with two shipping containers and those canvas covers, oh man, that would be so sweet. uh what's the course of the workshop and how many days? um Most likely it'll be 3 days. There may be a 2-day workshop. I'm not sure, but for sure 3 days. And unsure the price. It may range between 500 to 1500 depending on um what exactly is going to be built and how many people are coming to the workshop, because obviously the biggest cost is going to be the materials for the workshops. And so anyway, I'll be getting back to you with that information via email. So anyone interested in workshops coming up in March and maybe every month after March, just send me an email to aircreteharry@gmail.com. And as soon as I have more details, I'll send out that information. Hello from Wisconsin. All right. Heck yeah, that was a fantastic storage area you have. Oh yeah, thank you. It works real nice. Only thing it really needs to finish it is the tarp, a removable tarp for the sides, so wind and rain can't come in. But otherwise, it works superbly. And it's been up since last year. It's almost a year now. Well, it's coming up on a year, and it's taken some hail and a lot of rain and a lot of snow and a whole lot of wind, and they are really strong. Well worth it. May be interested in the workshop as well. Yes, definitely. Just send me an email and I'll get that information out. Also, I have the water tank I'm building this year as well. Originally, my design was for an underground cistern tank in the shape of an egg. But since I don't have the soil depth here to do that, it's going to be a ferro cement tank above ground. And anyway, if you haven't seen it already, I have a video showing the airform. It's a 8 foot diameter, 11 foot tall uh, airform in the shape of an egg. Now, why is it in the shape of an egg? I'll tell you. The idea behind it being the shape of an egg was to have natural water flow, water turning inside. So the temperature difference between the water mass in the egg shaped tank would be enough to cause a current. So the center of the tank would be a different temperature than the walls of the tank. And just that temperature difference would cause natural circulation to happen, especially being the tank is in the shape of an egg. It would be it wouldn't work the same with a square tank. So the geometry of the egg helps for that. So you don't have to worry about water stagnation with that design. And I'll be building that egg probably right next to my dome here, right? I'll probably put it right there, right next to it, and it'll be a tank. And I think I calculated it to come out to about 4,500 gallon tank. And yeah, so what I'll be doing is just taking the airform, inflating it, wrapping it with most likely a basalt or fiberglass mesh, and then maybe even going so far as to wrapping it with a layer of rebar because I have enough of it, and then just applying the cement to that. And it's a ferro cement tank. And once it cures, I remove the airform and I have a tank. So what I am thinking about is digging a hole. I have about 3 feet of soil depth here, in some areas even less. And so I am thinking of going as deep as I can. So if I can go 3 feet deep, I could have the tank, in the ground 3 feet. And so that's what I'm considering doing. And anyway, that's another project for this year is my ferro cement egg shaped tank. If you haven't seen it, check out my past video. I showed the egg airform inflated and it's massive. Yes, the egg shape is incredibly strong. It's just like a dome. It is a dome, and that's the other benefit is the strength. I mean, it's so big. I was actually thinking of making a really thin shelled uh, form of it and hanging it in the trees. I have this set of trees here. There's like 5 or 6 trees in a circle, and I was thinking that's going to be a perfect spot to build a tree house. And then more recently, I was thinking maybe I'd make a thin shelled egg form and just hang it in the trees. So it'd be kind of funny, because you're nesting in the trees. So I could make some kind of suspension system that looks like a nest and put my egg in it. I think that'd be pretty funny too. How do you run electric inside? Conduit? How about water and plumbing? Great project. Thanks. Thank you. The electric is well, this cabin here is a uh no running water or running electric. And that was the only way I could build this structure here, 200 square feet. And so I just have an extension cord right now going to it to supply electric. Electric here is solar. I have solar panels, and I have this awesome battery bank from Iron Edison, these nickel iron batteries. They come with an insane warranty and guarantee, and um, the batteries, wow, you can completely drain these batteries and recharge them, and they don't go bad. They don't have any kind of memory like a lot of lead acid or lithium batteries have. And they have one of the lowest temperatures, that they can go down, and some of the highest. And anyway, that's the electric system here. So it's all solar, and I just have an extension cord to this. But my future home, which is going to be just to this side, is going to consist of a 24-foot diameter dome in the center with seven 16-foot domes around it. And that's the plan. And that'll all be solar, and that'll all be running correct, where the water supply will be from this behemoth here. This is a 3,500 gallon tank. And PVC pipe running down here. I just installed this yesterday. This is the water supply, and that PVC will be, yeah, I'll have a trench done and put the pipe in the ground, probably covered with aircrete to insulate it. But anyway, this will be my water supply. And again, electric is solar, and that's coming. That's coming really soon. In fact, those domes, I may be having a workshop for each of the domes that I built. I don't know about the 24 footer. I may build by myself, but the other 7 16 footers, I'm probably gonna have workshops, and we'll be building those 16-foot domes. And anyway, I just have to calculate all the cost and everything, and I'll get back to people on the workshop. Is there zoning regulations against running electric inside? Yeah, if you can't have uh like electrical conduit and a permanent electrical system. Basically, it's a like a cabin in the mountains, you're completely off grid. And actually that dome there will have its own little independent solar system. Uh because the main power for the house coming up will be running off the main grid. And anyway, that little building will have its own independent solar system. And let me tell you, this this whole experience living out here in Colorado, I'm from New York City. I was born and raised. I had gas, electric at the flip of a switch, and being off grid and living off grid was been a huge learning experience, especially about power consumption, how much power you actually use. Once you go to a solar system, it's like that stuff matters, like just leaving lights on, you don't do. And anyway, it's been a really great learning experience, and I've been able to have my own unique ideas on how systems can work. And all of those things I also plan to incorporate into the workshop, is all the things that I learned about even the solar system and different toilet systems. There's a lot, and all of that I'm definitely going to be including. So by the time you're done with this workshop, you're going to be able to go out, build your own dome somewhere, and have a complete system where you can live off grid between having power and food. Another thing that I haven't shown yet, because I'm new to it, is the whole microgreens. Man, that's like such an easy one to do. And growing microgreens is is a great way to get some almost free food, you know? I mean, besides paying for the seeds, you're getting some very high nutritious food that you grow yourself like in a week. And it's really interesting. If you don't know anything about it, just look up microgreens and you'll see there's like a million videos out there. But that's one of the intentions for one of those 16-foot domes is it'll be a grow dome where I'll be growing microgreens. And anyway, that's another great one. What else is going on here? Uh, are you off grid? So you would have to run solar. Yeah, off grid, solar, and I have my own windmill I want to build. I have it designed a really efficient spiral design. And a few years ago, I actually took this. It's almost like a wing foil design, and I took this shape and I cut it out of out of a piece of paper. I cut this geometry out, and I took the paper and I just pulled it, and it made this spiral. And I used a pencil as a shaft, and I put this piece of paper on it, and I blew on it, and it was so efficient. It turned. I couldn't believe how efficient it was. And I didn't invent this. This was two different windmill designs. There's one from Russia, and I think it's called Obnipki Rotor. I think that's the name. And it uses, you know, geometry like a Fibonacci geometry to create this windmill. And this is other group from Holland or no. Anyway, I forget where they're from, but they also made this spiral design. And these spiral designs are really efficient at catching the wind. And the Russian one, the Nipke rotor, there's a video with the inventor. He's standing next to, it looks like maybe a 5 foot or 6 foot diameter windmill, you know, with his spiral geometry. And he's in front of it. There's a wind meter, and he's holding a light plastic bag. The wind meter is not spinning in the breeze. The plastic bag is not moving in the breeze, but his windmill is catching the air and spinning. And I was blown away. So anyway, I made a version of it out of paper, and it worked. And I just think it'll be easy to make out of sheet metal. So that's something else I'll be showing and experimenting with this year. So let's see what's going on here. During workshop, do camp locally or rent a hotel. Uh, During the workshop, both options will be available. Hotel's about 20 minutes from here, and the site, you know, there's definitely enough space here to camp. So both options are available for people who want to come to the workshop. Where's this all taking place? Trinidad, Colorado. That's where we are here. Cottontail bunny rabbits are out again. Yeah, so let me show you guys what I did yesterday. I didn't record any of this. I just wanted to get it done. Hopefully I don't lose my connection. This is trying to get the camera out the sun. This was my little this is my little setup I did yesterday. I ran my elbow up there, and that's going to be my supply line. So we haul water out here. There's a place I fill up a tank a few miles from here, and the idea was, let's see if we can zoom in here. Whoa. All right. Anyway, the idea was that I have a quick disconnect here, and so I'd bring my water, and I have a gas powered water pump, and so I'd hook up my connection here, fill the tank up, and then once done, put my cap back on here so no critters climb in, and then that's my supply line on the other side there. So I just installed, my valve here and these pipes. So this is going to be our water supply for, especially for building. We're going to need a lot of water for making Aircrete and E.P.I.C. Sorry about that. Made me a little dizzy too. What else is going on here? During workshop, where is this taking place? Showers and everything's going to be available at workshop. No, showers won't be available at workshop. Not right now, maybe. By the time the workshop starts, there will be. Uh, I have to do something. I think I might have the Aircrete shed built already by the time the workshop happens. So it's possible I could turn that into like a shower bathroom or something like that. But at this point, no, there won't be any showering at the site here. But maybe by the time the workshop starts. You can make those. There will be water to wash yourselves. Obviously we're working with cement. You're going to be able to clean up and wash yourself. I'm just saying, I don't know about showers. Unless you bring your own little portable shower unit. Um, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Yes, thank you, Abby. Hit the thumbs up, people, if you don't mind. I could use all the thumbs up I can get on YouTube. Yeah. Cut the spiral out of the cylinder. Cut a spiral out of the cylinder. I need to see a design of that. How much rainfall do you get there? Um, During the rainy season, it rains almost every day. Uh, Man, let me see. June, July. Definitely, I think the rain started around here in July, and it rained almost every day. Like in the um, and a lot of rain came down, but there's no there's no water collection allowed. Uh, I think only up to 50 or 100 gallons. So we don't collect rainwater anyway. So uh, I think that's everybody in Colorado. Let me just get away from the tank here. Here's another view. So let me see, how much rainfall do you get? What about burying a tank and have a big plastic sheet covered with dirt so you can tell it's being collected? Um yeah, it's not even necessary because there's a system that I've been researching for a while, and we've all have experienced this system, and it's called condensation. So you can make a simple condensation machine to collect drip water, and you'd be surprised how much water you can get out of the atmosphere. There's enough water in the air that you don't need to collect rain even. Forget about rain. You could make water all day long every day. And I reason I say you've all experienced it is because You have air conditioners, or you have a dehumidifying system. The droplets of water that happens with your air conditioner in the car or at home, that's condensation, So the temperature difference causes that to happen. And if you have for example, if you use a geothermal system, you could dig a trench, say 8 feet deep, put some PEX tubing or copper tubing in the ground, bury it, and then run water or some environmentally friendly antifreeze through the tubing, a little 5 volt or 12-volt pump, and you have that run into a radiator. That'll create enough condensation for you where you might, in some areas of the country or the world, create up to 800 gallons of water a day just from condensation. And it's something a lot of people don't think of, or they're just not aware of. And it's something I wanted to build here, but because of my soil depth, um, I wasn't able to do it the way I wanted to do it. But the idea still works. Even like now, we have a dehumidifier that we use, and I put that water into my Brita filter. That's all clean water from the air, and then it gets filtered, and it's perfectly good drinking water. Nothing wrong with it at all, and that's something a lot of people should look into. Is creating their own condensation machine, or just getting a dehumidifier and hooking it up and letting that water drip into a tank. How much rainfall? So what about burying? Yeah. Will you post clips of workshop classes on YouTube? Yeah, I think we'll probably have some clips just showing people, having fun working, creating, building. It probably won't be anything detailed, but you'll definitely have some kind of clips. I have clips from the first workshop we did. And but I haven't done anything with those. So I was having trouble transferring the videos, and anyway, I was having some issues with those video files. But yeah, future workshop will definitely be recording and sharing some of the action. Let's go back to a view. If you stay here, how long will it take to become a hillbilly? Well, that's all in your heart. So you come out, you could be a hillbilly in a minute. Speaking of hillbilly, I have a watering trough that I use for an outdoor bathtub. It works really nice, and let me tell you. Let me see if I can get a shot of it. I call it my hillbilly tub because I actually sorry about that, guys. I actually have a what do you call it? I actually have a washing machine drum inside, and I didn't take the exact path I should have through here. So there's the pump. That's my water pump for filling my tank. It's my totes. Anyway, there's my hillbilly hot tub. You can see. Man, that it is so nice. I start a fire in the washing machine drum that's underneath it, and it heats it up real nice. You get in there, and Man, this is the view you have. You're like, boom. And then the stars are out. I'll do it at night, around 6 or 7 when it gets dark. And oh, what a great feeling. Yeah, that's why I say hillbilly, that's in your heart. What else? Anyone planning on using SIP forms for aircrete walls? Uh I mean, you can't see it. I'm not gonna walk over there, but that shed, the wood panels that's on there will be removed after I pour the aircrete and it cures. So that'll kind of be like that. What's your strongest aircrete recipe? What aggregates or other materials methods have you discovered made the strongest mix? Uh, as far as aircrete, it's real simple. You have your cement slurry, which usually will be anywhere from 5 gallons to 6 gallons of water with your 94-pound bag of cement. And from there, the more foam you add, the weaker your aircrete gets. So if you want super strong aircrete, just add a very little bit of foam and you'll get really strong aircrete. And that's really it. It's that simple. The more foam you add, the less strength you have. And that's why I came up with what I call my 10 gallon, 20 gallon, 30 gallon, 40 gallon mix. And it's just using a container, for example, a 30 gallon container. You would put your 7 gallons of cement slurry and fill to the top with foam. And for me, that's strong enough mix for a foundation. And that's what I used on the shed here is a 30 gallon mix. But if you want something stronger because you want to do a driveway or something, just don't put as much foam in. You know, use a 10 gallon or a 20 gallon container. If you use a 10 gallon, you got your 7 gallons is going to be cement slurry, and you're going to have just 3 gallons of foam in there, and that'll give you a really strong aircrete. So you can look at it like that. It's that simple. You want stronger aircrete, add less foam to your cement slurry. Besides that, you can add sand. It will help expand your cement slurry. If you're trying to fill an area, and you can add sand to your cement and mix with foam, and that will give you it'll give you good compression strength. But what I've discovered from my experiments is you don't need to add sand to it at all to aircrete for it to be strong. Just adding less foam to it will make it strong. And as far as other additives, like I've put basalt mesh and even micro rebar in there, and I didn't really find that helped much because of all the air pockets in the aircrete. It doesn't have material to grab onto those fibers, and so additives aren't that great. What does work great is any kind of fabric or mesh. If you're covering the wall on the outside with some type of mesh, that helps tremendously. But otherwise, less foam, and you're good to go. Hey Jeff, what's going on, buddy? This phone's so sensitive. Okay. Yep, it's it's found a new GF and she sells her house so I can do some aircrete come spring. Yeah, great. Get your aircrete work on. Yeah, I have to make a bunch of bricks, so I'm gonna be when I get my slab done, I'll make a bunch of aircrete bricks because one of the structures I'm gonna build, I want to put aircrete bricks around it for my insulation layer. And anyway, that's gonna be fun. Having to make a lot of flat space so I can make those aircrete bricks. Yeah, the styrofoam, it's different. There's different ratios for different recipes. What I used on my dome for my structural layer was different than what I used on my insulative layer. And I have I have some new experiments to do where I'm incorporating foam, aircrete foam with EPS foam and cement. And I've done a couple samples, and man, I get a really it's a strong and really insulative system because the combination of the styrofoam and the air pockets from the shaving cream foam um, help tremendously. And so right now I'm working out a new recipe. I'm getting some ratios figured out so that I could have the best system because I want to keep it strong but gain maximum insulative value. So I have to find that balance. And so that's one of the things I was experimenting with is that new mix design. Which has more insulative value, Aircrete or Epic? Um, that's a tough one. I've done some tests with it, but I need to do further testing to really be able to answer that question. They both work really good. I'm trying to think about it, and I don't know if one is better than the other. Um, Definitely one is easier than the other, and that can be the big difference there. The Aircrete, you just need to add shaving cream foam, and that's it. You're done. The Epic, you need the other ingredients, styrofoam and paper. So as far as that, the Aircrete would be winner because it would be a lot easier and faster to do. But the difference is with the Aircrete, you would have to pour it into a form, opposed to the Epic, you can lay it onto a surface. And so they both have their pros and cons. And but I couldn't answer for sure which one's more insulative. I just know they both work really good. Uh, there's papercrete out there where something like 10% of cement is added to paper mulch, and that's been out for years. And that's supposed to be very insulative. Well, it is very insulative brick when you make paper aircrete. I mean, papercrete. I've made paper aircrete where I've added foam to paper, and that worked really nice too. And that was actually in one of my burn tests that I did. I had a paper aircrete brick on the ground, and I had a torch to it for a long time. I did a time lapse on it, and it was no heat transferred at all. It just worked really good. So they all work good. I don't know what the insulative value is, but one of the things to remember with when it comes to R value, is when they do those tests, they're under like lab conditions, and they don't take into account like for drafty house, drafty windows or walls and moisture buildup, and improperly installing the insulation. So there's a lot of factors that people don't think of when they talk about R value. But I'll give you an example with this dome that I built. The insulative layer had a lot of styrofoam in it. So you could almost look at that like I have it on 2.5 to 3 inches thick. You could almost look at it as a 2.5 or 3 inch thick of styrofoam and what insulative value that would have. And it would be close, not exact, but it would be close because there's almost as much foam. The only difference is there's paper and cement mixed into it. And the paper has insulative value as well. So pros and cons to it all, man. Uh, oh, and the other big thing is with the Epic mix, you also get thermal battery value. So the heat inside will absorb into the walls and radiate back, opposed to regular fiberglass or styrofoam insulation won't do that. So that's another difference. Epic, I mean, yeah, I got you. I understand what you meant. She has a pole frame garage that I'm going to try and pour some wools inside the out of the sheet metal. Yeah, that should work just great. Just put your form up and pour your wall. Question is, how tall are you gonna try and pour at a time? Are you going for like 3 or 4 feet? And are you gonna use a 4x8 sheet and stand it upright so the 8 feet is up high? Because that's how I did the shed. I stood the sheets up to get the maximum height out of each sheet of wood. 4 foot lifts. Okay. And I guess you can pour it with a bucket. That's a lot more work. What I found is if you don't have a pump yet, a diaphragm pump works really good for pumping aircrete. And if you get yourself a diaphragm pump, that'll make easy work of pumping the aircrete into your forms. How much does a cubic foot of epic epicrete weigh? Um, I don't know. I'll take that measurement. This year I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of new experiments, compression, um, with the aircrete, um, all those different mixes. Like I've done, a simple backyard experiments, but since I've found a company that does the compression tests and it's relatively inexpensive per sample. It's about, I think, $25 per sample. What I'm going to be doing is I'll make a bunch of different aircrete mixes, um, from very little foam to very high foam. I'll make a bunch of test cylinders. I'll pour it in those test cylinders that I have. And then I'm going to come to you people, the fans, and see, who wants to help pay for these tests to be done. Because once the samples are made and I bring them down, they charge per sample. So if you guys want to donate to help get all those samples tested, then we can get the hard numbers on aircrete and exactly what compression strengths you get from different amounts of foam added to your mix, to your cement slurry. So it'll be great to have those numbers to know exactly how strong. And that's something I want to do with the aircrete. I also want to do it with the Epic mix as well. Um, and so it needs to be done. Like it hasn't been done yet. And, I think I'm the closest to any compression test that's ever been done uh, with my little compression tester that I, used. that was only good for 100 pounds. But anyway, that needs to be done, and that's the plan for this year. So I'll make a video of me making all the samples and the different mix designs, and you'll see it all. I'll pour it into the cylinders. I'll mark them all, and then once they cure, we'll give it like a month. Uh, whoever wants to help out, donate to have those samples tested. I'll do it. I'll record the whole process. I did it before with the Epic. I didn't make the mix correct though, so I got bad results because I didn't let the mix dry correctly. I really messed up with that. I got results of something like 350 psi for the samples when in reality it's way above that. But because I didn't allow the samples to properly dry, they were much weaker. But anyway, I think I have that video posted, and so that's something that needs to be done. I would love to have that done this year, and we'll have all the numbers on compression strength. Excellent, Jeff. We'll definitely take your help for a sample or two. You even pick which ones you want. What's this? Thanks. It's because I'm planning a project. I have to think hard. Yes, thinking hard helps. Um, are you planning to build a well, what kind of project? Are you building a home or some other type of structure? Just out of curiosity, Nick. Wow, look at all that foam and tires. Holy guacamole. Um, let's see, Nick. Me too. I'm building in the tropics. Sweet. Yes, a wood frame skeleton structure with the voids poured in with aircrete. Yeah, sweet. That'll definitely make for a nice structure. The only thing I have to say, anything with wood being in the cement, um, I guess the only thing I have to say is you want to make sure it's sealed. Make sure your wood is sealed. Um, and there's something you could do with wood. It's called a whitewash. It's a lime wash. And if you take lime white, it's a lime powder. You mix it with water, and it's a lime whitewash. You could buy buckets of it already mixed up. And I haven't done it yet, but based on stuff that I've seen, I think painting all your wood that's going to be in contact with cement, putting a coat of that lime whitewash might help preserve the wood longer. Because the only issue I ever have with wood and cement is you're having organic material touch the cement, and it could become a weak point when it comes to maybe leaks or something, or wood being rotted, or termites eating the wood and making the structure weaker. If you do lime wash on any structure anywhere, you actually keep the insects away. Insects don't like lime whitewash. And if you paint any structure with that, you'll keep bugs away. And I don't know if you've seen before, but there are a lot of trees. The bases of trees are painted a lot of times in whitewash to keep the bugs away. And so, anyway, that's the only thing I would suggest you do with the wood before you encase it in the cement. Yes, I will have to seal the wood. What's up with all the tires? The tires are for my future tire build. I have a method of I have a new method of building with tires that I'm going to be experimenting with this year, where I remove the side walls, um, either both side walls or one side wall of the tire, to allow for easier compaction of soil. And it's it's my way of making like one of those earth-ship structures way easier. I just figured compacting tires with a sledgehammer sucks. And the thought that I had was, if I remove one side of the tire wall, fill with soil, I can use a regular vibrating compactor or one of those jumping jack compactors, and make fast work of building a structure with tires. And so that's what I'll be doing with those tires you see there. Um, yeah, I'll be building a cylinder structure with a dome roof on it. That's what I'm planning to build. Probably in another, probably by next month, I might start on that. Yes, it would be. Yes, it won't be exposed. I will use a house wrap over the structure with a normal sand and cement stucco. The wood will be pressure treated also. How about shredded up insulation or polystyrene fiber, something that will not soak up water because the cement needs the water to cure? Yeah, I would actually just make an epic mix where you actually mix uh, paper and styrofoam in with it. And my feeling has been, as far as the paper having all that water moisture soaked into it would release slowly into your cement, allowing it to cure stronger. Because usually, when you're working with cement, you want to keep your cement wet until it completely cures. And so, what you're supposed to do with cements, especially slabs, is you're supposed to keep it wet by watering it down and covering it with a plastic sheet or something. And so, my thought has been, having the paper in the cement releases the water slowly, and it cures stronger. Now, you just have to make sure you have enough cement to um, petrify the paper. You don't want to have too much paper in there, because then you'll have organic matter breaking down and making your cement weak. So there's a balance. And uh, if you go to my Etsy shop, you'll see you can purchase the recipes or videos on how to mix Epic so that you get that balance correct. Um, what else is going on? How about, right? I too was thinking about a structure using wooden pallets and rebar with Tyvek underneath, so pallets are sealed underneath. Then pour pallets full of aircrete and connect them sideways with rebar. Yeah, that sounds real sweet. I could see that working beautifully. You have your pallets already made, your structures there. You're just nailing or screwing your pallets together to form a wall. Um, yeah, I guess the only other thing would be to put plywood. Yeah, so I'm imagining, standing your pallets up uh, vertically and nailing them together, and then I'm imagining covering them with plywood just until you do the pour, and then when you remove your plywood, you're gonna have those pallets, the pieces of wood sticking out. So it'll be pretty neat looking structure. I like that idea. I thought about something with pallets as well, because I'm also collecting pallets. Whenever we can, we'll pick up pallets because they just come in really handy for a lot of stuff. And actually, one of the domes I'm building, I will have the boards from a pallet covering all the walls, and so that's something I intend to do. But yeah, I like that idea a lot, using the pallets and filling with aircrete. That's gonna work real nice, and the rebar, of course. Keep up the great work, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, Jeff. Uh, Have you had any success using rapid set cement? I use it all the time for repairs projects and foamcrete experiments. I've never used regular Portland cement due to drying times. Yeah, I've used the rapid set cement for making aircrete, and just as by itself. By itself, I used it on the peak of my dome to reinforce the roof. But I've made aircrete with it. I don't normally use it because it's so much more expensive than Portland cement, and for that reason, I don't use it. But I haven't really done enough experiments with it to really feel good with using it, because it's a different chemistry, that CSA cement, than Portland, and yeah, I haven't done enough experimenting with it. So, but I have done some, and it does work really nicely. It's just too much money. Uh, third world only sawdust or rice hulls available. Yeah, that's fine. Sawdust, rice hulls for sure work. Uh, it's been there are a lot of temples that have rice hulls in their mortar, and in India, and that's a definite good filler. It's a good aggregate you can use. Harry, tell us your Etsy. You know, all my videos have a link to my Etsy shop, so you can click on them. I'm not even sure. It might just be, just look up Aircrete Harry. I think that's the name. I don't know what the, if it's etsy.com/Aircrete Harry. I forget what it is, but uh, usually all my videos have a link, so you can click on the link on one of the videos, or just look up Aircrete Harry. You should pull it up. Uh, Nick says coconut hairs too. Yeah, why not? You know, you got enough cement wrap around it, you'll petrify it. As long as you have there enough cement around it. I wouldn't want to do it where you have very little cement, because then you'll just have a lot of organic material that'll break down. I actually wanted to weld said rebar so the pallets wouldn't be a dome. Um, yeah, that's cool. Weld rebar, sure. I gotta get myself a MIG welder. I don't have a MIG welder. Uh, Actually, I do have one. My buddy Eric Kissels has it, and he was supposed to fix it up for himself so he can use it. Then I was gonna get it back after he fixed it. I don't think he fixed it yet. I was thinking about using the what's TP pole framework instead of a dome, then covering with either chicken wire or basalt mesh, and then either throwing by hand or hopping aircrete onto it. Um, I don't know. Uh, yeah, you could definitely do that. You're gonna definitely need to make a dense aircrete mix, and if you want to spray it on. Otherwise, um, you might consider just doing a thin layer of cement first, like a half inch, quarter inch to a half inch. Like put your mesh up, put your thin layer of cement up, and that'll give you a strong structure. And then you can hop the aircrete, or you could just make small aircrete bricks and put them on. I obviously hopping it on would be the best, because it'll be monolithic and you won't have to worry about using any mortar mix or anything. All right, let's get off the tires. That's kind of boring view. Get back to the mountain view here. Indeed. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to build. I've researched a lot of them for a long time. Um, I've taken some workshops. I think probably one of my favorite workshops was the Green Rhino building system. Guy Dan Dwyer has. I don't know if he still does, but he has these videos, and he showed. Well, I took the workshop in Arizona, and he showed how to build with foam blocks. Like you could build really quick. I mean, so easy. Um, your inside wiring and plumbing, you use a hot knife and you cut channels out and you put it in. Anyway, it was a whole system, and it was really cool system. And I was about to build until I learned about Aircrete. And actually, Aircrete is not new. Aircrete used to be called cellular cement. Well, it still is in the cement world. Cellular cement or entrained cement entrained with air. That's all Aircrete is. Aircrete is just a nicer name for it, in my opinion. And anyway, the Aircrete works. What was I saying? I lost my train of thought. Sips, I think sips are great. It's just for me, I like no wood in my structure. Um, I've lived my whole life in cement buildings, cement and concrete and brick buildings, pretty much. And I don't like houses that can burn down. And so I don't like any materials that burn. So that's why I like the dome so much. Oh, thank you to whoever just purchased something. That's why I like the dome so much because they're concrete. They don't burn down. They're fireproof. You don't have to worry about fires taking out the house. And so that's the reason I wouldn't go with SIPs. But I did look into ICFs also, and I thought ICF was a really nice way to build a strong structure. Only problem is, cost, and that's what it is. The SIPs and ICFs and all those other systems cost more than building with Epic or building with a concrete reinforced structure with aircrete as insulation. So so that's the dealio. Actually, today's a pretty nice warm day here. I could have got some aircrete experiments done. Oh, I think I'm just gonna relax this Sunday. Dick is in the UK. Um, Relying on wood structure for strength and aircrete for insulation. Yeah, that'll be perfect for sure. Um, and covering your structure, if your wood is completely embedded, then obviously it's also fireproof. And yeah, that's a great way to build. My shed, I was planning on removing the wood. You can't really see it, but I was planning on removing the wood and leaving the aircrete exposed. Um, but I think for a future build, I'll just leave the wood in place on one side just to make it. Um, no, I'm sorry, that's not what I was thinking. What I was thinking was, instead of using wood, to use that cement board. I don't know the cost of it though, so I don't know if it would be worth it price wise. But the thought that I had was I could put the cement board up, then fill with aircrete and leave it. So I wouldn't have to remove the boards like I'm going to have to with these wood panels that I have up, or rather these wood forms that I have up. So that was another thought. What about pouring aircrete in between sheets of fiber cement board? Yeah, that's exactly what I was referring to, the fiber cement board. I found out those cement boards, if you soak them, you can actually bend them to different radiuses. I had no idea. I think that's pretty cool. Oh, what we have here? Ha ha, exactly. You can make cement board, make a mold, and then line with house wrap. Then pour your slurry and cover with more wrap. Um, yeah, I believe you can do that. That's uh, that's not what I want to do. It sounds like too much work. Do you have a well? No, I don't. We haul water. I go and pick water up and fill my tank up. I had an idea to make a dome halfway underground. So, say a 10-foot high dome would be 5 feet dug in for thermal mass benefits and less material. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Just you just want to make sure it's well sealed, so when it rains, you don't, have yourself a half tank, half house. Um, so yeah, that would be the only thing. Make sure it's sealed good if you're gonna be dug into the ground. Let's see, what do we got here? What food can you grow where you are? Um, I don't really know what can grow in this climate exactly. That's one of the things we'll be experimenting with this year. But because there's no fruit trees here, and I'm curious as to what fruit trees might be able to grow here. I know there's a lot of pine and there's different soil compositions and stuff, but it's something I like to find out, and I also like to learn what natural growing things here are edible. I'm just not familiar with it. Like even these trees here, I just learned that were pinyon trees and with the pinyon nuts. And as soon as I learned about them, my wife and I we went out and we went to all these trees and collected tons of nuts, and they were so good to eat raw. Like we just cracked them and ate them, and anyway, we also learned in this area that was one of the staple food for the Native American Indians that lived in these areas was the pinyon nut. So and they're real expensive, and we got tons of trees that make them. And one bad thing is I learned. Well, someone said they don't always produce nuts every year. I think my buddy Dan said that, or somebody said that, and but that's fine. There's a ton of nuts here. Oh, and as far as food, one of the other things that I've gotten into, which I mentioned earlier, are microgreens. Um, I'm starting a microgreen shelf. We got one of those stainless steel shelves, and each rack will have 4 trays of microgreens. And it's basically, it's almost any seed, like sunflowers or broccoli, and it's anything grown just for like a week or two, depending on the species you're growing. And you harvest it, and it's tons of nutrition, and it's really easy to grow. And anyway, that's something I'll be getting into as well, growing and sharing some of those experiences and experiments I'll be doing. Let me see what questions we have here. What food can you grow? When are you finished building, or when you are finished building your home, will you be available to come on site to build domes? Yeah, I will be available. Um, but I'm also planning to come out with a dome building kit, and I think I think uh, I think a lot of people are gonna like this kit. I have this great kit in mind. In fact, that's the next dome I build. I'll be showing the whole kit that I came up with, and it's gonna be fun. So that's coming soon. But yeah, I will also be available to come out to sites to consult on different jobs. The wood frame may shrink a little air gap along the joints during extra humid times. Joints may reclose. Wood is a living product in a way. Yeah, Charles, that's true. But I think Nick was also saying about using pressure treated wood and stuff like this. So also look into the lime wash. The lime wash, I think, will work as a really good sealant and uh, a bonding surface to help bond to the cement even. And anyway, it's something I recently learned about, and there's a lot of great benefits to it. And I'll be showing what I learned in some future videos. If you build a submerged, hold on, wait a minute, joints. If you build a submerged greenhouse, you can grow anything in high elevation in Colorado. Yeah, that's true. In fact, there's a great video I suggest you guys all check out called "The Man Who Grows Lemons in Nebraska." I think that's the name of the video. Anyway, you should be able to pull it up. And this guy in Nebraska has this partially buried greenhouse, and he's also using geothermal energy, where he has these 6-inch corrugated tubes buried 8 feet into the ground, and he runs them like 150 to 200 feet, and that length gives the air enough time to exchange temperatures, to collect the geothermal energy from the earth. And he grows all types of citrus fruits. Ooh, my lips are getting cold. And uh beautiful greenhouse. I think the greenhouse is like 80 feet long, and he's growing all kinds of things in there. And there's no reason you can't do that anywhere. Only issue is here is I only have 3 feet of soil. And so um that's that. What else we got going on here? Almost anything grows in a greenhouse with a longer grow season. That's true. What's epic like with seismic activity? Is it resilient because it's so light? I can't imagine it's flexible much. Do you get earthquakes there? No, we don't get earthquakes here. And Epic is actually flexible because the styrofoam and paper in it is actually more flexible than Aircrete. And you can see an example of that in one of my previous videos where I do a sledgehammer test. And I take a sledgehammer and I whack an Epic brick that I made a good 4 times. And all it did was indent. It just made a dent where the sledgehammer hit it. And so it was really strong. I also did the same experiment with a piece of Aircrete, and you saw how the Aircrete just disintegrates. Uh, so the Epic is definitely flexible. It would do superbly in a seismic area, especially in a dome form. I cannot say the strength of Epic in a regular straight structure. I know it's strong. I'm just saying I've never built one. So I can't say how strong it is. But from the testing that I've done with Epic in a dome shape, it's very strong structure. And we have some really strong winds here. And we don't feel anything in the dome. The geometry, obviously, it's aerodynamic, and which is what makes it so good for hurricane and tornado areas. And then it's just strong. Anyway, it's really good. Nick, the wood will end up totally enclosed. I will also use rigid insulation board secure with expanded foam and triangle voids before aircrete goes in. Yeah, that sounds like it's going to be a very well insulated structure you're building there, Nick. Okay, got it. That's Charles. Yeah, microgreens, the way to go, and sprouts from seeds. Yeah, that's the other thing I want to do is the sprouts, um, for sure. Be careful collecting pinion nuts, as some places they are protected by government to only be collected by the Native Americans. Yeah, we're good here, and this being my first time living out here, um, there's something the locals do where when the pinion nuts, when the season comes for them and they are harvestable, people just pull over on the highways everywhere and they just go after these nuts. Like they are everywhere. And then suddenly you see like tons of people selling the pinion nuts, different markets and stuff. But yeah, this area we're good to collect, especially on our own property here. What I noticed are the rats are real good at collecting nuts. And I found a rat's nest because they were using the styrofoam that I have collected as a little nesting area. And one of the boxes had a ton of pinion nuts in it. I really considered taking it from him because it just makes it so much easier if he collects them. But I didn't because I just don't want to eat pinion nuts that a rat collected. Um, Clarity up here. Wild rice protected. Oh wow. We'll look at lime wash. Yeah, definitely do. How did you calculate the particle board temples for the Tyvek dome? Look tricky. The um yeah, it is tricky. I had my buddy Dan. He gave me uh, a calculator that was able to calculate it good, and with the techniques that he taught me, I was able to make a perfectly round dome form. And I don't have yet, but I'm planning to put those templates up on my Etsy shop. I'm going to have all the different measurements and instructions on how to make your own airform. So you can take those, whichever size you choose. I'm going to have different size templates. You choose the size you want, whether it's, I think the smallest is 10 foot up to 30-foot diameter. And you'll be able to choose whichever size you want for the square footage you want, and be able to make your own template and cut your own gore patterns out. So that you can either tape the seams or you can sew the seams, because they both work. I've experimented with both the taping and the sewing, and both systems work. Sewing is less expensive because you don't need to buy the tape. That's the only benefit. The sewing is for the thread is super cheap. um citrus in Nebraska. Yeah, the man who grows lemons in Nebraska is the name of the video. If you want to check that out. Sounds like you could use a wind turbine. Yeah, I'm gonna be making my own windmill, and to start harnessing some of the air, because we do get some nice winds up here. If you add molasses to lime wash, it increases its flexibility and water resistance. Oh, that's a great tip. Molasses to lime wash. That's good. Increases flexibility and water resistance. Oh, one of the things that I did learn about lime wash, if you use it, you want to apply it in thin coats. Like you could use lime wash to seal cement, but when you apply it, it has to be in thin coats, and you have to give it at least a day to dry before you put the next thin coat on. And that's how it works the best. If you put lime wash on too heavy, it doesn't last as long as thin coats that dry in between coats. What size dome will the kit be? The kit that I'm going to be building next will be a 9 footer. But the kits that will be available will be a variety of sizes from 10 foot, 12, 16, 20, and 24 or 26. Um, no, I'm so yeah, 26 and 24, 26 and 30. Those are the sizes that I've already done the calculations for, and um I'm just finishing up some things with that before the kits will be available. And there's going to be different options because some materials you might be able to get locally, and it would be a lot cheaper to get some materials locally and opposed to me sending the materials. So I'm still figuring it out. I want to make sure I get everything just right. Where are you, Charles? All right. Uh, Charles. Yeah, cheap organic wood treatment is good idea. Boric acid works well also, aka roach powder. Uh, ant time wood is encapsulated. Nature finds a way to eat it. Yeah. Uh, North Wisconsin will build Aircrete in tropics. I bought your epic mix recipe today. Looking forward to experimenting. Thank you, Nick. I appreciate it. Enjoy your experimenting. Oh, I haven't. I mentioned I was releasing plans for my foam shredder, and I haven't released them because I feel I feel someone's gonna lose some fingers, and I would feel horrible if you built something that I gave you plans to build and you injured yourself. So I have a new, safe, and easy foam shredding machine that I'm currently working on to make it. Everything's the same. It's just the feeding. There's a new feeding apparatus to make it much safer and much more effective at shredding foam, especially a variety of shapes and sizes of foam, which is what I have, a lot of different shapes and sizes. And so after I get that machine built, I will be not only having the option to buy the safety part of the machine, but the rest of the blueprints and plans on how to make the foam shredder the way I've made it. There's a lot of different foam shredders out there. I just think mine's the best, but maybe I'm just being biased. um, Hearing Epic is flexible is good. Floors uh, with with give are better to walk on back and forth. Oh yeah, absolutely. That's why they say people who constantly working it in places where this concrete floors have problems and issues, and that's why they always have floor mats, like at different restaurants and areas where people are working all the time for the extra cushion. And yeah, you definitely you definitely can feel that little bit of give that the floor has. And you can make it even have more give. Like I could adjust the recipe so it was still strong and have a little more give to make it very comfortable to walk on. And so that's a good point, and I'm glad you mentioned that. That's pretty good. Flexible floors. Where I'm building, no quakes, volcanoes, tsunamis, but hot, humid, semi-remote. Yeah, that sounds cool. Hot, humid. You're probably gonna have a ton of rain where you are, so you get tons of rainwater. You don't need to make a condensation water collecting machine, but in humid areas, the condensation water collection machine works really good. You can make hundreds of gallons of water a day from the air in really humid areas. Wood more expensive than here, Aircrete. Yeah, Aircrete's gonna be probably the cheapest material in a lot of places. Many kinds of termites as well. Aircrete for me. Oh yeah, you don't have to worry about termites. And again, for termites, for people who aren't yet building with Aircrete or any other cement, a lime wash repels insects. So if you have termite issues or any kind of bug issues in your house where you currently live, from what I've learned, just simply putting a layer of lime wash around the areas where the bugs come, obviously by the ground, will keep them away. And it's a great bug repellent. I was figuring a hand crank device would be safer and work for clamping the styrene packing. Chipping a hand crank. Yeah, I could tell you right now, unless your goal is to have really big beefy arms, I would not get a hand crank because there's a lot of styrofoam you got to shred, and my God, your shoulders and arms are going to be huge. No, don't get a hand crank anything. Get something with an electric or gas motor that will shred. Um, that's going to be your best bet for shredding the styrofoam. Yeah, buddy. So I'm just hanging out, guys. So if you got any other questions you want to ask, you got any ideas? I got tons of ideas, man, and I got so many things I want to do. I have to make my own hydrogen wet cell to produce hydrogen. That's something I'm working on. There's there's this whole system. Oh man, I got so many exciting things I'm looking to work on and build, and obviously my house I want to get done this year for sure. And I guess I'm gonna be having a lot of you viewers out there help when it comes to the workshops because I'll be building. You guys will be helping me build my house with the workshops. And anyway, if you guys got any ideas that you want me to experiment with, just post them. Send me emails. I love to hear ideas, and even just today when you guys were talking about a teepee structure with Aircrete, I think that's really cool. We've seen some teepee structures when we were driving down in Texas this past week, and some of them were even cement. And so I think that's a really cool idea. And I was also planning on not making a teepee, but I was planning on building a pyramid structure. And I wanted to do some experiments with building pyramid structures when it comes to the actual building materials, as well as experiments with the energetic effects of pyramids. And I'll be experimenting with that. I want to do some pyramids because I've seen experiments where food was able to last longer that were inside of a pyramid or under a pyramid. And I thought that was really interesting. Like, it's been done multiple times by people where, like, for example, a piece of apple, apple's cut in half, one half is left outside the pyramid, the other one is put in the pyramid, and the one in the pyramid lasts much longer. So, I'm curious to do some of those experiments myself. I was figuring, okay, my home will have a metal roof, but woven bamboo mat as a ceiling to reduce heat. It's also going to look really cool, a woven bamboo mats. Greetings from Central Mexico. Thanks for the info about uh, anodized sodium sulfate. Drexel too expensive here. Yeah, no, I get it. The Drexel, um, the Drexel. I've had a lot of people ask me if I could ship Drexel, and it's like you say, it just gets so expensive for that. So yeah, sodium lauryl sulfate is definitely a good foaming solution option. Just make sure your water is not hard. You gotta have soft water. If it's hard, you won't create bubbles. And I had that experience where one batch of foam solution I made with sodium lauryl sulfate powder came out perfect, and then another batch, I couldn't get any bubbles to be created. And what I found later was that the water was too hard the second time. And so that's one thing you have to be very aware of. Anytime you make an aircrete, anytime you're trying to create foam, if you have hard water, you can just about forget it. You will not be able to make foam bubbles. So you either need to get some kind of machine or something, some additives to soften the water. But hard water, you're not going to be able to create foam bubbles. So remember that for wherever you are on the planet. Um, the reason I like tips is because it requires zero framing. It's all works with gravity and tension. Yeah, no, I agree. Listen, the TPs have been used for centuries. um, it's a very simple structure. I've seen it done many times. I was always very interested and have seen them done. This was back when I was in New York. But now that I'm here, if I were able to get a hold of some poles, I would definitely build a TP structure. There's no straight poles around here. I don't have any trees that are straight. Nope. I'm just looking around. I don't have the right trees in this area to make my own. Without purchasing a TP kit. But yeah, I like TPs a lot. I think they're really cool. My roof will extend far beyond the walls, giving shade. Sweet. We are waiting to insulate the outside of a shipping container with Aircrete. Any tips about condensation? Um, yeah, I would highly recommend painting it with climate active paint, or some Uh, I wasn't, I'm trying to think if I heard lime wash was good for shipping containers as well, or a combination. I know there was something that could be done. What you want to do, if you can eliminate the condensation before you put the aircrete up by applying some kind of coating to your container, then it's just gonna help tremendously. And I know for sure the climate active paint will work for that. And I personally, if I were doing a shipping container, I would definitely paint it with climate active paint inside and outside before putting my insulative aircrete mix on the outside of the container. Because that's what I intended to do uh, for these shipping containers, only because they're my storage containers. If I were gonna convert these shipping containers into a living area, uh, definitely you want to paint it with the climate active paint because it's gonna help with the interior environment tremendously. Like, I put a video out, part 6 of the dome build, where I painted the dome, and I get people saying, it's fake, it doesn't work, and it doesn't make sense to me when I literally record I'm editing the video, obviously, to not have you watch hours of nonsense, but I show results of being in the dome before it was painted, and then I show results of being in the dome after it was painted. And I'm not lying about the results that I came up with. And the paint works, and it's just a fact. And there's nothing fake about the results. What I showed is not a lie; it was truth. And even my earlier video, when I paint just a small section of the shipping container roof with that paint, and I show with my flare camera the heat difference between painted and unpainted. It's just a fact. It works. So if you go to the website and you read about the paint, they talk about how it helps for humid areas and to stop condensation and things like this. So I would paint it before aircreting it. Thanks for info about the hard water. Yeah, absolutely. Hard water is a huge killer for bubbles. I will be using rainwater. Yeah. The rain falls through the sky. You've heard of acid rain, chemicals and stuff in the air, and um, normally in the olden days you would say, oh, it rained and that's going to be the best water you can get. But now there's so much stuff in the air, it's not always the best water. So you might still have to test the water, make sure it's not hard. I don't know. Once the equipment and supplies are on site, about how long will it take to build a 16-foot dome cabin with how many people doing it? Um, Guarantee 1,000% you will be done within 7 days. If you got more than one person helping. I by myself, if it were not for the weather, could have been done with my dome probably within 3 days. And this is all by myself. I had my wife, Mrs. Aircrete, help me with activating my pump to turn the pump on and stuff. Um, but pretty much I constructed everything myself, and that would have taken 3 days had it not been for the weather. It's snowing some days and not and stuff like that. uh you get a good week of clear weather with 3 people, you'll be done within 2 to 3 days with the structure. and then however long it takes you to finish the inside. But guarantee you'll be up within 3 days. We're talking about slab and dome. You could be done within a week. If you're doing the slab and the dome, you could do it within a week for sure. And I wouldn't need more than 3 people. Like if I had 2 other guys helping me, it would be a super breeze. So quick to build. Because I don't want to carry cement anymore. That's I'm so tired of 94-pound bags of cement. Um, Central Texas. Okay. You have rain enough for crops. Yeah. If I had some kind of crops here, it during the I guess I'm calling it the rainy season. I guess during the summer it rained a lot, and I mean, there's if you look on the map of this area, there's tons of crops around here. Obviously, a lot of them have wells, so it all depends on what type of crop you're growing. But like I mentioned, during the summer, it rained almost every day, and so I was really shocked at how much it rained. I was surprised at the amount of rain. But then in September, it just stopped. It was no more rain. It just got really windy here, and then that was it. It like hardly rained at all. It's so wild how it goes from raining almost every day to no rain. And it was like a switch was flipped. So yeah, anyway. I don't know what kind of crops you want to grow, but I'm sure there are a lot of varieties that would grow with the amount of rain that comes down here. Uh yes, think about condensation potential. Yeah, for sure. Like a rubberized roof coating. Um, I don't know what you're referring to. Yeah, there's nothing that I'm working with that's like a rubberized roof coating. Hello, do you always have to make a dome? Can you put a roof on Aircrete? Yeah, no, you don't have to make a dome. It's just the dome is going to be your strongest structure that you make from something that's relatively weak. If you're building just an aircrete structure, um, a dome is going to be the strongest structure you could make with it, and and that's something to consider when building with aircrete. A straight wall of aircrete doesn't have the same strength as a domed structure, and so anyway, that's something to consider. But I'll say this again. For me, aircrete is only an insulative material. It is not structural. I would not build with aircrete alone. You can do it, so as long as you're using a reinforcing fabric on the outside and inside, you're making a type of gypsum board dome. But in my opinion, for the amount of cement required, I would make a reinforced concrete structure, and it doesn't have to be really thick, maximum 2 inches, minimum a half inch. And I would make a reinforced structure and then put a thick aircrete insulative bricks or a pour on top of that. And that would be it. It's not going to cost that much more to do like a half-inch thick reinforced concrete structure. And the benefit of that also is that's going to be your interior walls, and that concrete is going to be thermal mass. So the heat you create inside will be absorbed by that concrete wall. The aircrete's not going to have the same thermal battery effect at all. It's not going to work at all as a thermal battery. I did a test where I took aircrete samples and Epic and regular cement and rock, and I put them in a fire pit, and you just see how well aircrete insulates. It's not a thermal mass. So That's the other benefit to reinforced concrete structure. And when I say reinforced, I mean with either uh, concrete with either cement and some type of fiberglass mesh or basalt mesh, or um, fiberglass chop or basalt chop, or wire mesh or rebar. Like reinforced with any of those things. Even Epic has the paper and styrofoam that gives it reinforcing. It gives it flexibility and tensile strength. So I recommend that opposed to just an aircrete structure, because what you haven't seen yet is what happens if something big and heavy falls on aircrete. I mean, it just breaks. So anyway, that's how I feel about that. Um, yes, rubber roof may do. Love, I'm doing that. Charles, what are you building? That thermal paint is not too expensive either. No, it's not. It's anywhere from 150 to 200 and change per 5 gallons of it, and you get so many energy benefits from it as well. Thanks for info. Love basic rectangle metal roof looks like most homes we see. Um, had great success with Drexel and water with very high magnesium content. Oh, sweet. Magnesium's good. Uh, how's it going? King Jackson Charles, how's it going? I'm in Wisconsin. We'll build in tropics. On my lake here, we'll build on beach. Coconut trees done with 30-inch snow. Haha. Hmm. Uh, how's it look like? This in USA. Let me add free rice and sacred mix. That will use smaller rebar in the walls. Yeah, definitely rice holes I like a lot. I've been wanting to actually get a hold of rice hole. The other thing you want to look at for increasing, oh yeah, here's the answer to your question about increasing strength of aircrete. Fly ash. You get yourself some fly ash and add that to your aircrete, and that will definitely increase the strength of your aircrete. Ratios, I'm not sure the ratios yet. I haven't done enough experimenting with the fly ash, but it definitely will help with strength. Do, do, do. We got some beautiful skies out here, especially in the evening. Alrighty, people. I guess I'll just let you guys go. I'm gonna just be hanging out here, and I'm gonna chill out today. But I will have those gore patterns, which are the wedge shape designs for making dome airforms. I'm gonna have all of those templates um, available on the Etsy shop, and that's it. Anyway, peace out, y'all. Love you all. Catch you later. Wait, we got one more question through in there. So, what were you saying? You pour 2-inch concrete, then you put the aircrete 2-inch concrete, and no, I'm referring to domes with that. With the dome airform, I'll put a minimum of a half-inch thick reinforced concrete. Let that set, and then Aircrete on top of that, or Epic, and that's my preferred method of building. Aircrete only as my insulation. It will have some structural, but that's not the purpose of it. The purpose will be purely insulative on my structure. That's it. Peace out. Whoa, hey, what are you guys doing here? A million questions when I say goodbye, huh? Thanks a lot for the good info. You're welcome, Pat. Fly ash byproduct of coal-fired power stations, so it won't be around forever. I don't think the coal power plants are going anywhere anytime soon. Harry Crete, keep Viz coming. Yep, videos coming. Cheers, Harry. Have a good day. Thank you. Graphite also increase strength in concrete. You could make graphene by burning. I heard about that, and I've seen Little Pig Store do some experimenting with it, and I that's something else I like to experiment with as well. Okay, okay, thanks. For round vertical walls with normal roof building, check out my little homestead. They use earth bag, which is great. Yeah, I do watch their channel, and they built some really cool structures there with the earth bags. I'm just not with the labor of packing earth bags personally, but I think they have really nice structures that they've built, and they're solid. Anyway, peace out.